In this section, we're going to talk about using Python to merge point cloud data in more detail. So again, the script and the data we can access from this GitHub address. So here is the folder after I extracted it, and on the left here is the Python script. I open it using Spider. So to start it again, I'm going to close this Python script, close the Spider as well. So in this section, we're going to divide into two parts. Part one is understanding how to use Python to merge point cloud data files, which includes how to read in a XYZ data file, how to create a new XYZ data file and put all the input data into that file. And part two, which is understanding how to make a Python script that can be operated in command line as we did in the previous video. So in order to do that, in this video, we're going to use Spider editor. So to start Spider editor, we have a different way. Here I also have Anaconda and ArcGIS. So if you install Anaconda, you can go to Anaconda and you can go to Anaconda Prom as well. If you install ArcGIS, you can go to ArcGIS and go to Python Prom command. So a lot of people using Anaconda, but because I use ArcGIS, so I go for ArcGIS. And in the command prompt here, I just type in Spider, and the Spider 4 is loading. And I have Spider Python 3.6 is open. So I'm gonna open this Python script using Spider. In order to complete this section, we need pandas to be installed. And normally pandas is installed with Anaconda. So we need to check it, import pandas as PD. It's working, so that means we already have pandas installed. And here is an overview of the script. It looks like the first part is importing libraries and model. Then we define the main function to get in the arguments for the script using argument parser. Then the define process, etc. But this part one, we're going to focus on how to use Python to read in data and write data. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open it with Notepad, and I'm going to put on the side here for my reference. So now we're going to create a new Python script here, and then this Python script. So we're going to save it into this folder, and we name it as part one read and write XYZ data file .py. So again, our purpose is to read these point cloud files and then create a new point cloud file. So how can we do that? To do that, the first step we need to do is we need to list all the XYZ file in this folder. So the first thing we need to do is we need to define the working directory, which is in directory, can be defined like this, and we copy this, and we put in. Then we list all the file, all the XYZ file in this folder. So we need to define the extension of the input point cloud data file. So it's normally can be XYZ, so we're going to define as star.xyz here. Now we can use glob module to list all the XYZ file in this folder. So we need to import glob here, and here we can say list all file is equal to glob.glob, and we put in the extension. But before running that, we need to change the current working directory to this folder, and to do that we need to import OS as well. And then here in the os.change current working directory, we put in directory. And after that, we can print out this file. We save it, and now we can run the script. So we can see that this is all the list of XYZ file in this folder. Okay, so that is the first step. After we have this list, we're going to read the data in. So we're going to use a for loop for a file in this list, and we're going to use with open the file as read only as in file, and then for each in file here, we're going to read every single line of that file. So for a line in file, now we can just print out the line to see what happened. So we're going to run it, so we can see that the script will read all the file, and for each file it's going to print out the content. So we can do something like that. We can put in the file name as well and print it out, and put in the command colon there. So you can see that. Okay, so the content of this file is this point cloud data content of this file. So this file have only 1 point, but there's some point cloud file have more than 1 point, which is this one, more than 1 point. And some of the line are empty as well. So we can see that. So we check the point cloud one. You can see that we have 4 lines and some of the lines are empty. This also read in as empty like that. So that's one of the things that we need to consider when we read and process the data. So that means that the data is reading okay. So now next we want to process this. We need to create a new XYZ file. So that means we need to define the out file, which is out file name is post merge.xyz like that. And then we're gonna use open function to open the file name, and we write it. So when we use this function and we run it, a new XYZ file is created, and we remember to close that file at the end of the section. So that means after we open it, we need to close it so we can access that content of the file outside Python. And inside here, inside the loop here, we can call out file dot write, and we write in the line, and now we can run it. So after we run it, we can see that there's a new merge XYZ file here is generated. So let's check this to see how it's worked. You can see that it's pretty good, but the problem is that we still have some empty line here. So the script read all the XYZ file and keep the empty line as well. We don't want that, so we need to solve this problem. We close this. In order to solve that, we need to, before writing, we're going to put in another if condition. If the line is not empty. So if the line is not empty, the empty line, that means it has nothing in the line and only the new line character. So if the line is not empty, we're going to write into that. And then if the line is empty, we do nothing. So we run this again and check the merge file, and we check it. Oh, okay. So now the empty problem is solved. And we can see that here the input has the separation or delimiter is space, and the output is also like that. But what if we want the output to be comma separation like this? What can we do? So we're gonna close this, and in order to do that, we need to define 2 things. The first thing we need to define here is in delimiter. So we're going to choose this as space because the input delimiter separation here is space. And then the out delimiter, we're going to define it as whatever we want. For example, comma. Okay. Now down here in the line, before writing, we're going to do we're going to do this. Line is equal to line replace. And inside here is going to be in delimiter and in delimiter and out delimiter. Okay, so that means every single, so in this output, if a character is space, it's going to be replaced by comma. So let's check it by run the script again and check the merge. We can see now here we have the separation is comma already. So similar, if we change the out delimiter to be semicolon like that, and then we run the script again and open that, so we can have semicolon. So that means we can specify the separation we want after we merge the point cloud data file. I like it to be comma, and if I want to be CSV, for example. If I do like this, and I run that, it's gonna generate for me a new merge CSV file. And with this CSV file, I can open with Excel, and you can see the data very nicely generated here in Excel. Oh, sorry, I need to change the output delimiter to be comma, and I need to run this again. I need to delete them all. I need to run this again. And I open by itself. It's working. Okay. So I change it back to XYZ here, and I run this again, and I also change it back to space here, and I have merge XYZ. So this is what I want. But what if I want to have header like this? For the merge file, I want to have this header is X, and then space Y, space Z like that. So I can do that. So in order to do that, I need to define column names variable here. So I'm going to define it column names here, And actually we can use different way, but the way I choose to do here is I put it as a list. So the reason why, because I want to use Pure Python for this part, and the next section I'm gonna use pandas, and to see the different way to process the text file using Pure Python and using pandas. So here the column names I'm gonna define as x, y, and z. And with the column names I need to do something there. So I'm gonna run that, and I have column name is this list. And before writing anything to the file, I need to write the headers first. So I'm gonna also define a new variable called header is equal to default is yes. And then after this, our file open. So I'm gonna say if the header is equal to yes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call our file, and I'm gonna write in the column names, and I'm gonna run it. But of course, it's gonna tell me a type error. The reason why, because I cannot put a list into the right function. So what I'm gonna do is I need to change this to a string, and I run this again. It's working, but let's see it's actually working in the file here. I'm gonna open that. We can see that we have two problems. The first problem is that after this line is writing, we need to put in a new line character here. The second is that we don't need this, we need to put this out, so it should look like this only. And it's also consistent with the separation that we selected. If we selected separation as space, this needs to be space. If we choose separation as comma, this needs to be comma. So for this case, it needs to be like this, but this is not working for us. Okay, it looks like this. So firstly, we show the problem of new line. That's easy. Here we're gonna string and plus new line here. If we run this again, see, okay, so the new line problem is working. So now we need to show this to the same format as the point cloud data. So in order to do that, I'm gonna go to here, and I'm gonna change the, so inside here I'm gonna say column name. It's gonna be column names. Of course this needs to be string, so string column name looks like this. But I don't want to get this square bracket, and I don't want to use the string size as well, and the comma as well. So how can I do that? So I'm going to get the first to the -1. You can see that I can solve the problem of the square brackets. Now I need to solve the problem of this single quote sign as well. To do that, I'm going to use the function called replace, and in here I'm going to say I'm going to replace that. I'm going to replace this with empty. I'm going to run this again. Okay, I still need to replace this by the out delimiter that we selected above. So I'm going to change this and replace another tab. And then here, inside here, I'm going to choose this is, it's going to be comma space. And on the right here, it's going to be out delimiter. Okay, so I'm going to check this again. So it seems that it's working now. And then after that, we write in, and then we run the script again. After running it, we check the output. Okay, so it's working for us. The header is the same format as the point cloud. So if we want to change the out delimiter to be comma, and we run the script again, and then we check it, the comma is working as well. So if we change this to CSV, and we run this, and we check the CSV file in Excel, the problem is the problem is that there's two XYZ here. Oh, okay. Why is that? Why there's two XYZ here, but inside here it's only one? The problem is that when we list all the file in the this folder using XYZ extension, it's not only list the input point cloud data file, it's also lists the output one. So if we check this list, we can see that it's include merge as well. So what we need to do is we need to say here if the line so if file is not, so the file is not the it's not merge.xyz. Okay, if the file input file is not merge.xyz, we're gonna open the file. If the file is merge.xyz, we're gonna skip it, and we make a tab here. So you can see that from the beginning the script looked pretty simple, but when build it up, when we fix the problem, it start looking a bit more complicated. So now we solve all the problem. Now we can run this again, and we can check the merge in Excel, and we can see that XYZ perfectly merged. So that's it for the first part, which is understanding how to use Python, Pure Python, to read in a point cloud data file and then merge them together into a new point cloud XYZ data file. The next section, we want to look at how to use the same thing, how to do the same thing, but using GeoPandas. So we can get familiar with how to handle text data using Pure Python, and also how to handle text data using Pandas as well.